Hey guys, welcome to our first video here on YouTube displaying some of the cool products we make here at Custom Fab. Today we are going to take this makeup box you can find on eBay, sometimes on Amazon and stuff like that, and you're going to learn how to turn this into a really cool custom slot car box for yourself. This particular model that I picked here for our project today runs about $100 on eBay. The reason I picked it is it seems to be about the most common that you can find on eBay and sometimes even on Amazon as far as availability and stuff. What's great about this model here, the base model, it can hold about 12 cars fully bodied. It has a power supply in it and lots of storage for all kinds of stuff, tires and parts and pieces, tools and everything you need. And will be very adequate for anything you need from day-to-day stuff. The other thing is it's really nice because it fits in an overhead storage bin on a plane, makes it great for travel, and makes everything tight, compact, and efficient. First thing we're going to do is open this bad boy up and figure out what we got to tear down, and we're going to go through it step by step right here. First thing we're going to do here is take an 1/8 inch drill bit in your drill. We're going to drill out 4 of these front rivets here. Go. Now we're going to go to the back side and do the same thing. We can actually remove these 2 rivets here as well, as we won't be needing the part on the other side of it. Next is going to be possibly the least fun part of this whole project. We need to take this front piece here and remove it. To do that, we're going to peel back. You can kind of see here there's a fabric on the back side of this board here. We've got to peel back that fabric on both sides. Just enough. A couple inches, and then you'll repeat the same thing on the other side. The other thing holding this front panel in here is you will find, if you peel back the fabric here as well, you will find yet again another rivet, and you'll find that on both sides. So we're going to drill those guys out real quick. Next, we'll pull this guy apart here. It might take a little bit of muscle to do it, and you will find that once we pull this out, it's going to be a little bit flimsy, but don't worry, we're going to add a lot of rigidity back to it. Next, we have one of two options to get rid of these guys here. One, if you want, you can take a Dremel tool, any sort of abrasive cutter, some tin snips, something like that, and you can trim these guys off. What we're going to do in this case here is I'm going to drill out the rivets holding these guys on from the inside out, and I'm going to replace them with 1/8 inch rivets. That obviously we're not going to have this guy on the inside here. Now, as you can see, that rivet holding this guy on happens to be one of the rivets holding on the hinge here. So we're going to finish drilling this guy out and replace it with another 1/8 inch rivet so that our hinges are securely fastened. Next, we're going to go ahead and cut this excess fabric here off of the sides. What I usually like to do is try and go along right with this edge of the aluminum trim you'll see here. After we get this trimmed up, once we get it looking nice and pretty, we'll glue it down with a hot glue gun or some sort of adhesive, whatever you might have. Next step is going to be removing these pockets here. This can be a little bit painstaking, but the best way I've found to do it is just take a good old razor blade just like this, and if you stick behind it, pull the pocket out a little bit, they actually come off fairly easy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this template here for the right side door, and we're going to pre-drill our holes for the Hootie tire truer as well as the power supply box. What's critical here is that we get this edge of the template lined up with this edge of the aluminum trim here on the side as well as on the bottom of the trim here on the bottom of the door. Next, we're going to take a 3/16 drill bit and drill into the door to make room for our 1024 screws. Next, we're going to take our bottom shelf and we're going to use it as a drill template to drill out the bottom for our uprights for our drawers on the bottom. The bottom shelf is pretty easy to pick out. It's one of the thicker sheets that you're going to have here, and it'll be the one that has got the slots in it. Definitely don't want to use the one that does not have slots. So we're going to take this guy here. We're going to go ahead and securely put it on the bottom here, kind of get it in place just where you think it's kind of happy there. We'll take our 3/16 drill bit, and you're going to want to use, if you pay attention, I will write top on here. You're going to want to use the holes that are beveled here. We're going to use this as our drill template. So first we're going to take this guy here, I call this a drawer housing, and we're going to go ahead and attach it to this. This piece here works great. Small tire tubes fit in here. Work great for storing either tires or if you want, I like to store parts and stuff in there. A lot of gears, guides, nuts, stuff like that. Here you can put, I have it sized right now for a Hootie tire wrench. A lot of the other ones will fit, but we can certainly make that to whatever size you need to. These smaller holes here will hold armature tubes, which again work great for holding motor screws, scrub screws, that sort of thing, body pins maybe. So the first thing we'll do is we'll take the drawer housing, we'll attach it here to the bottom of that. We'll do that using these 3/8 long 1024 button head Allen screws. Now that we've got these two pieces bolted together here, if you look on the back side, again, you're going to see a couple of threaded inserts here. Now what we're going to do, again, we're going to take a couple of 3/8 long 1024 button head Allens, and using an 1/8 inch Allen wrench, we're going to come from the back side with these holes that we pre-drilled here, and we're going to attach this piece. Next, we're going to go ahead and pre-drill our hole for our female power jack. I typically use a very standard power pack that would use something sort of like a laptop or something like that, and that will plug into this guy here, which will power our power supply. So before we go any further with the other side of the door, we need to go ahead and pre-drill for this guy here. So to do that, I'm going to take this nut off here, slide these guys out of the way. I just use a unibit. You can use, try and guess what size that is and whatnot. You can use whatever drill bit you want. I like using a unibit. Got to be very careful and make sure you don't go too far with this. Once I clean out the other side, I think it'll be a good fit. When we're getting ready to put together the power supply box that'll go on the right-hand door, a couple things to look at here. We'll leave some links in the description, but this is really nothing more, like I said, than a power pack that would use on something like a laptop or something like that. Pretty simple, pretty cheap, about 20 bucks or so. This particular one it's only 12 volts, but it goes up to like 10 amps or something like that. So it should be plenty enough. This you will find in the link, is a link in the description as well. This guy here is just basically what they call a variable buck converter, and this guy will take the 12 volts that we get from this power here and transmit it to a couple of banana plugs that we will use to break in motors or use on the use on the tire chore. Now, a couple of things here. This is one of the more expensive ones here. This is about $30 or so. It will take up to something like 36 volts. Not that we would ever go that high, but the big thing is it's rated for 8 amps. So plenty of power, plenty of draw and all that stuff for using the tire chore and stuff like that. You don't really have much issue with most of the tin can motors and stuff we use if you're trying to break a motor in with this power supply. They do make cheaper versions of this that are, say, like $20 or so, but they're only rated at maybe 3 or 3.5 amps. So while they're fine for motors, they are a little bit under adequate for the tire chore itself. So you're going to take your variable buck converter here, and if you look on the back side here, you will see there's a spot here for voltage in positive and negative and out negative and positive here. So what we're going to do So we're going to take a couple of wires here. I have some 18 gauge here. Basically all we're going to do is strip a couple ends of the wires. We're going to go ahead and attach them to the voltage in and out, and positive and negative. These will get hooked to, I'm going to use, you can use whatever you want. You don't even have to use these, but I like to use these little RC battery connectors, something of that sort. Doesn't really matter what it is. The nice part about doing this is if for whatever reason you need to take the power supply apart and replace something or work on something, it makes it a lot easier to take it apart and not have to cut wires or unsolder things. Pro tip, if you run out of wire and you need some wire, just go on over to your father-in-law's house and find some weird electrical device and take some of the wire off of it. Fuck.
Expletive.
Just keep going. Okay. Now that we have the wires all done, I'm going to go ahead and try and fit this guy in here. This opening here, I purposely make it a little bit tight just to make sure that this guy fits in there nice and tight. Sometimes it's almost a little bit too tight. In this case here, you'll notice that I'm going to have to do just a little bit of filing to get that guy to slide in there just right. No big deal. Shouldn't take too long at all. Before I go all the way in with that guy, I'm going to go ahead and take these guys here and attach them to the voltage out, negative and positive. just like that. Now, before we go install this piece here, what we need to do is go ahead and solder the corresponding plug onto the back of our DC power outlet jack on the right hand side of the box. Next, we're going to go ahead and bolt up these, I call these the lower uprights. These are the slides for the lower drawers and stuff. If you noticed, one of these edges is beveled. That will go on the back bottom side. And there is a left and a right, so make sure you get the correct one. Now we're going to go ahead and take our drill template here. I might try and do this a little bit different in the future, try and save everybody a little bit more money. This is what I have for now though. I'm going to go ahead and bolt it up to this same piece we used before. This guy's going to end up going on here. We're going to go ahead and bolt that guy in place. And then with our drill templates on here, we're going to have 4 holes to drill on each side. These are the center dividers here. You will look and see, if you notice, on one end, the threaded inserts will be a little bit closer to the edge than they are on the other end. You can see that there, but basically, that makes sure that you get this oriented right. So, being that this is the bottom, it's going to go in here just like this. We're going to go ahead and mount it to these corresponding holes here. Should be these guys. Okay.